Hello, what is up YouTube? It's Ismail Rodriguez here bringing you another beginner Python tutorial video. This time we're going to be going over for loops and while loops, and we're also going to be going over the answer to this guy's software engineering problem which he revealed to us on stream. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Okay, as always, we're going to start off with the definition. So the definition of a loop is very simple. Loops are basically containers, which have code inside of them, and they can be ran as many times as you want. That's cool, but I'm a visual learner, so how does that look like? As my student Israel would say, but he's actually not here today. I wonder where he is. So if you want to make a for loop, then you start it off with the word for, and then a variable name. In this case, we use the variable name x, but you can use whichever variable name you want, such as y, z, apples, oranges. And then you follow it up with the word in, and then range 5. And range 5 is saying that this loop is going to be ran 5 times. If you want the loop to be ran 10 times, then you would change the value 5 to 10. Then you follow it up by the colon. And then from there, you have the code that's going to be ran. In this case, it's going to be ran 5 times, and it is a print statement which prints I am a for loop. Now, if you want to make a while loop, then you start it off with the word while, and then a rule. In this case, the rule is that number has to be less than 5. So as long as number is less than 5, this loop will run pretty much forever. And if the rule is ever broken, then the loop will stop. Then that is followed by a colon, and then you have the code that's inside. In this case, we have a line of code which increases the value of num by 1. That way, in the future, the rule will be broken, as num will be greater than or equal to 5. And then we have a print statement, which prints I am a while loop. Okay, so now if you want to see the output of what these loops will end up doing, I have it right here in Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to run the program. And as you can see right here, we get I'm a for loop printed out 5 times. And we also get I'm a while loop printed out 5 times as well. And just as a reminder, it ends up printing out I'm a for loop 5 times because of range, which says range 5. And it's saying that this loop is going to be ran 5 times, and therefore it's going to print out I'm a for loop 5 times. Now for the while loop, it also prints out I'm a while loop 5 times. And why is that? And that is because when num is increased 5 times, it ends up being greater than or equal to 5. So then the while loop stops. And just so we can see that a lot easier, if we said num has to be less than 2, num is less than 2, you get I'm a while loop twice. And why is that? Well, it's because the while loop only runs until its rule, num is less than 2, ends up being false. And when it actually runs the code, it increases the value of num by 1 each time. So right here, it says the value of num plus 1. Num is 0, and it adds it by 1, so you get 1. And then it says num is equal to 1. And then the new value of num is now 1. And it prints I'm a while loop. And then it goes back to the top, and it says is num less than 2? Well, num is 1 at the moment, so it is still less than 2. And then it goes down to this code again, and it says add 1 to num, and num is 1. So now we're adding 1 to it, so it says num is now 2. And then we print I'm a while loop, and then it goes back to the beginning and says is the rule still holding true? But this time num is now 2. So then it says is 2 less than 2? Nope, it is not. It is actually equal. So then the rule is no longer true, and the while loop stops running. And if you want to see the value of num increase, then we'll just put that print statement, and right here we see that num turns into 1 and prints I'm a while loop. Num turns into 2 and it prints I'm a while loop, and then the loop stops. So now you might be wondering, what happens if you delete this line of code that adds 1 to num? Well, if you run it, you see that it just keeps running. It doesn't stop, and that's because num is always less than 2 now. Num is never being added by 1, so it just pretty much runs forever until the program crashes or until your computer can't handle it anymore. Anyways, if you want to stop it, then just kill the terminal. What to do, what to do, what to do. Israel, why didn't you show up to class today, huh? Huh? Wait, what are you doing? Wait, no, Israel, what are you doing? Israel, stop!
Hello, Ismail Rodriguez. It is I, Israel. How was your 3 days without food or water? Oh, that's right. You can't talk. Your mouth is taped up. To help you know what's happening, Elmo Designs hired me. Yes, they hired me because you did not include them in your last video, and they were not very happy with that. So they decided to take action, and now you're in this mess. They do hope you will do a better job including them in your next video, and if you do not, the consequences will be far greater. It's your move. Do well.
So this video is actually sponsored by Elmo Designs. They're a pretty cool company. They do graphic design, and they let me use their Adobe products to make these videos, so they're pretty cool. And yeah, they have an Instagram, so make sure to follow them there. And yeah, please don't hurt me anymore, Elmo Designs, please. Okay, so now for this part of the video, we're going to be checking Disguised Toast coding question. And if you haven't seen the clip of it, then don't worry, we're about to watch it. But more importantly, if you don't know who Disguised Toast is, he is a very popular streamer. He's also known for being really huge brain, big brain, super duper wrinkly brain, not smooth brain. So yeah, let's look at that clip.
Have you ever interviewed for coding jobs?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Do they make you do like challenges, optimization?
No, I've never been at like a big company where they have people who know how to ask those questions.
Ah.
Yeah, have you?
So
I've had some bad ones.
It's
though.
my first year. I'm just interviewing for a bunch of positions, and I was terrible at coding back then, like absolute terrible. And they want me to write a function. If there was 100 lockers, write a function to go through each one and like check something. So I wrote a function, but it was just for locker 1. And they asked me, okay, how would you repeat this 100 times? And the right answer is you just write a for loop.
Right, for loop for like
Write a
100
loop
with
and
100.
repeat it
in it,
100 times.
Yeah.
I said,
Man.
just copy and paste it.
So that happened in the coding interview?
Yeah, in the interview. And then they're trying to make me get it. They're like, okay, if that is gonna work, but let's
how
say,
could we make it more efficient?
they say, what if we want to do it for 1,000 lockers? I said, just do it.
That's some good shit.
You know, I didn't get a job.
Yeah, it's a pretty good clip. It's quite funny. So how would you actually solve that question? So the question was that you have 100 lockers and you want to check all those lockers for something. And they want you to make a function that checks those lockers. So how would you do that? So first, what you want to do is that you want to start off with a function that checks the locker. And more importantly, we're just going to make a function that checks a locker. So we're going to start a function. We're going to start off with a def, short for define. Oh, if you don't know how to make a function or don't know what a function is, then you can check out my function video that I think I posted like last week. I'm put it somewhere on this video for self promo, shameless self promo. We started the function def. We're gonna call it something appropriate, something like locker checker. That's checker. And we want it to take in a variable, and we want it to take in the locker number that we are checking. Then inside the function, we can say that we checked that locker number. So we should give it a variable name, and we're gonna call it locker number. Locker number. And then Disguised Toast didn't really mention too much about the rest of the coding question, so he just said that check the locker for something. So we're just gonna say print locker number plus something is checked. When we actually use that function, we're going to pass in the number of a locker, and we're going to say, let's say we pass in locker number 1. It's going to say 1 checked, and then we're going to say, okay, we need to check 100 lockers. So what's another locker number? 69. 69 checked. We're just gonna go off with that idea. So if we actually want to do that without copying and pasting this code 100 times, we can just use a for loop. And we're gonna say for number in range 100. And if you remember, this is actually just basically saying that this for loop is gonna run 100 times. Then we're gonna say locker checker, and we're gonna pass in the value number. And this is gonna end up doing what we want it to. So we run the code. Oh crap. Print locker number checked, unsupported operand types, integer and string. Okay. So the problem here is that it's saying that locker number is a number, and adding this checked is actually a word, and it wants it to be the same type. So it wants a word with a word or a number with a number. But luckily enough, we can convert this number into a word. Well, it's a string, but a word, so you can understand better. So if we want to do that, we can use this, which just says str, and then parentheses, we put in locker number. And what it's essentially going to do is going to convert locker number from a number into a word. And then Python shouldn't have any problems with that. As you can see right here, it's going to say 0 check, 69 check, 75 check, 99 check. And yeah, it works. But you might be wondering, how is this working? Because I never really mentioned anything about number. Well, actually in the for loop, the variable that ends up being right there, that variable actually ends up being added by 1. As you can see right here, if we make this for loop and we just make it print out what the value of number is, we get number is 0, then it's 18, 54, 98, 99. It increments the value by 1, and that is exactly what we end up abusing in our for loop to make it work as we want it to. And then Disguise Toast also said that in the interview they asked him to check 1,000 lockers, to which he said if you wanted to check 1,000 lockers, then just copy paste the code 1,000 times.
Just copy and paste it.
But there's actually a much easier way to do that, and it's just to increase our range from 100 to 1,000. So we're just gonna add a 0 to it. So now we're gonna end up checking 1,000 lockers. So now if we run the code, we're gonna see that we get all these lockers end up being checked. 0 ends up being checked 5, 13, 68, 79, 106, 154, 400, 700, 900, all the way to 999 ends up being checked. And yeah, that's how you answer that question with the for loop. So now you might be wondering, how do I answer this question with while loop? And well, we can do that very simply. So if you want to answer this with a while loop, so we started off with while, and then we say number is less than 100. And then we're going to say locker checker number. Locker checker number. And by now you should see that there's actually a problem with this. So we're going to run the code. It's going to say while number less than 100, name error, name number is not defined. And what Python is essentially saying here is that we never really defined number. So we never actually said number equals something. And Python's like, you just pull this thing out of your ass. So what are you doing? I don't like that. And we're like, all right. So if you wanted to fix it, you just put number equals something. So we're going to say 0. And then if we run it, we also get another error. Yes, I did intend for this to happen. And right here it's saying 0 checked, 0 checked, 0 checked, 0 checked. It just keeps saying 0 checked. So what is happening? So the while loop is saying while number is less than 100, keep on running the code. But it should stop once number is equal to 100. Well, that's the problem. Number never actually equals 100. Number is always 0. We actually never add 1 to number. We never increment the value. As you can see here, we just say number equals 0, and then we never really do anything with number besides pass it into locker checker. We never actually change the value. So if we wanted to fix it, well, first we should kill this program before it creates an error. Yeah, there's your error. Restart our little thingy. So if we wanted to fix it, then we want to make number increase by 1. So we're going to say number equals number plus 1. And what's happening right here is that now number starts at 0. We're going to say while number is less than 100. We're going to check locker, and then after that we're going to increase the value of number. So right here it's going to say number equals number plus 1. What is number? Number is 0, 0. And we're going to add 1 to it. So then it's going to say 0 plus 1 is 1. So number is now 1. The while loop is going to run again. It's going to say, okay, 1 is less than 100. Yes, indeed. So keep on running. 1 is less than 100. And then we run locker checker, and then we end up here again. And we say number equals number plus 1. What is number? Number is 1. And we're going to add 1 to it. So now it is 2. So number is now 2. And it's going to run again. It's going to keep on going until it reaches 99. And then it's going to say 99 plus 1 equals 100. Number is now 100. It's going to try to run again. It's going to say 100 is less than 100. It's going to say nope, that is equal to. So then the while loop is going to stop. And now if we run the code, you see that we get exactly what we wanted and exactly what we got with the for loop. It just says 0 checked. All these numbers end up being checked all the way to 99, and we end up checking 100 lockers. And yeah, that's it. It's really that simple. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the next video, which will be coming out next Friday.